Deion Sanders makes a brilliant transfer portal pickup with Xavier Hill, and the Buffaloes should be the pick for the Big 12 championship.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal news. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen. And our show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Props to Deion Sanders in Colorado. They are fixing their biggest problem from the 2024 season. Travis Hunter is gone. Shedeur Sanders is gone. A lot of good players have moved on from Colorado. They had a really good year. But I think they're going to be better in 2025 than they were in 2024. And again, brilliant move by Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Here is the deal. Xavier Hill will be the rarest player, in my opinion, to enter the portal this spring. Why do I say that? We don't see many decent, let alone elite offensive linemen get in the portal regardless. Nor do we see guys that are grad students, that are 6'4", 320, that have passing grade. I mean, this is the definition of elite here. It's one thing to be a good pass blocker, but he was 86.8 last year. And I'll get into his stats more in a minute. And versatility. He started at guard before. He started at right tackle. He started at left tackle. You can plug and play him at different spots, which makes him a swing player if you have injuries. Colorado has Jordan Seaton coming back at left tackle, the 5-star that came in from IMG Academy in Bradenton last year. But you need more than one guy that's an NFL-level player. If you don't believe me, look at the teams that advanced in the college football playoff last year. Texas and Penn State and Ohio State and Notre Dame in particular. They were dominant in the trenches. Getting Seaton was the first part. That doesn't mean you can't add parts from the portal too. Again, grad student, 320 pounds. Xavier Hill is a dude, and I guarantee you his inbox was full. So props to them. And now let's dive into Xavier Hill as a player. Over the last 2 years, he hit the most important checkbox. As I often say here on the Portal Podcast, your best ability is your availability. 1,756 snaps over the last 2 seasons for Xavier Hill. It doesn't get any more durable than that. And again, he's played guard in both tackle spots. So he's a rare player. Offensive grade from Pro Football Focus, 83.2. Pass protection, once again, elite, 86.8. And as a run blocker, he was only 80.4. Come on, man. Let's get with it. In all seriousness, he's just an elite football player that changes your offense. You can go from a team that was literally, and there are only 134 teams in the Division I level of college football. They were 134. They were dead last. I get it. You had Shedeur Sanders throwing it all over the lot. They had speedsters everywhere, including, obviously, Travis Hunter. Shout out to him. He's probably the most gifted kid that I've ever scouted in high school in terms of his twitchiness and his ability to be just a dog at the catch point. The only guy I can think of that might be more athletic that I've ever had the pleasure of seeing in high school, probably heard of him, Allen Iverson. Different sport, but Allen was also, ironically, an elite football player too. But I know you're losing him, but with Kaidon Salter coming in from Liberty and you're adding Xavier Hill, Jordan Seaton's going to be a second-year player. By the way, I'll get into Jordan Seaton in a second. But his pass protection grade last year as a true freshman was 77.1. All of a sudden, maybe Colorado can run the ball. For those that don't know, Kaidon Salter is a true RPO quarterback. If you dive down on the running back on the fake, he's out the backside and he can get you 50. And he can still sling the pill too. Colorado is going to be an explosive team. They may take a little bit to adjust. You got new linemen and all that, new quarterback. I get it. You better get Colorado early, especially the offense in 2025. I haven't even looked at their schedule. I don't know if they've got a special game early on in the year. But that offense, as it gels, they've got multiple good running backs. They've got 3 at least that I know of. Augusta, Hayden are a couple guys that have transferred into that program. This is going to be a pain in the butt to try and stop them because they still have speed on the outside too. Don't get it wrong. I think they're going to run the ball a lot more, and they should. But they can still sling it around, too. They got skill guys, and they still could add somebody else from the portal this spring. Who knows? Also, just a shout out, I'm not going to dive into it a lot, but Colorado has some pretty darn good players that have come in. Jaheim Otis, for instance, from Alabama, a nose guard, 350-pounder. They don't get those kind of guys at Colorado. The Big 12 doesn't see those kind of guys. If this team gels, they've got a great chance to win the Big 12. And right now, Colorado is flat out my pick to win the Big 12 this next season. If you'd have told me that even yesterday, I wouldn't have believed you, but that's how much importance it is for Xavier Hill. He's going to help you grind out games. Short yardage still be better. He's a perfect fit for Salter because you can have him and Seaton next to each other, or he can play on the other side. Makes it really difficult for defenses to try and just play the pass. Again, they got skill guys. They're going to have to come into the box. You're going to be one-on-one in a lot of places. It's going to be hard. Colorado will be a very difficult team to slow down offensively, and they'll be able to play 4-minute offense whenever they want with a bevy of running backs, a quarterback that is mobile, and a guy that's also proven. Kaidon Salter had a really good career at Liberty. They should be a very difficult out in the Big 12, and I think they're going to make the college football playoff. Maybe I'm way off, but hats off to Deion Sanders and his program for adding a guy like Xavier Hill to help get them to a point they're more balanced. Here's another little prediction. They were 134th in rushing, dead last. That's terrible. But with the way they have trended, the type of quarterback they brought in, remember, Shedeur was not a runner. Kaidon Salter is. I think you're going to see this young man and the offense take off in a different way with the running game. They'll finish in the top 50 if they want running the football. Maybe they don't because they still have so many good skill guys, but if they want, with this offensive line, adding Xavier Hill, having Seaton a year older, he wasn't a great run blocker last year. His run block grade was only 61.2. That'll be closer to 70, if not over this year, because he's going to have a year in the weight room at the University of Colorado. He'll be stronger. I expect to see Seaton take that big step forward in adding Hill. They're going to run the ball at people and just power them right down the field when they need to. Again, my Big 12 pick is Colorado, so we'll see if I'm right, but this is a really good group. Just for the sake of argument here, 83.2 grade by PFF for offense for Xavier Hill, 86.8 is pass protection, and 80.4 is a run blocker. So he's a lead across the board. He had 5 games last year in pass protection where his pass pro grade was 83.8 or higher, including one over 90. If they're going to throw it around or if they're in situations they really have to, that's a guy that's probably not going to get beat. When we come back, we're going to talk about more transfer portal news, including the crazy situation with Nico Iamaleava. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Here's something that's really good about it. You can find every little thing that you're spending on that just adds up. Ubers, or having food delivered, or even just going out and spending too much money with your friends on doing things you really don't need to. Monarch Money will help you do it. And you can do it under one roof. You and your partner can put everything they need under Monarch, so your personal accounts and everything are there. Easy to keep track, so you can set goals and save money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off of your first year. Nico Iamaleava is no longer with Tennessee. Missed practice on Friday. Coach Heupel from Tennessee had a press conference. By the way, he did a really good job with it, just addressing it before he was even asked. If you miss a mandatory practice or anything like that, any coach can cut somebody. Obviously, the NIL is what everybody wants to talk about, but he just flat out didn't go into that, so I'm not going to either. But we all know this was NIL driven. I am curious to see where he ends up, but I just want to make a couple of points. There have been numerous people around the media world, Pete Nakos and everybody else, talking about this. Scott Schrader from On3 talking about it at the USC site, He's just dialed into SC, and Nico's an LA kid. That's one of the schools that got a phone call. He talked about that. Give him credit. Scott is incredibly gifted with his writing and everything that he does out there. But Nico, where's he going to go? Because who's going to pay him $4 million? Are they going to actually end up losing money? I don't know. UCLA, according to Scott, is the only school that's at least receptive out of some of the phone calls that were made. Notre Dame, Southern Cal, UCLA. Texas Tech has been mentioned. I'm told Texas Tech's not interested. I don't know if that's true, but I don't see this ending the way that the collaboration around Nico thought. This is not Nico driven, by the way. I think it's people that are quote unquote adults that are the key here. But Nico is not going to be at Tennessee, and he could end up at a G5 school or anything else, and he'll be a junior. He's got 2 years left. It's a really unique situation. But again, I've done two, not one, but two podcasts on this. One that I did yesterday, giving props to Coach Josh Heupel at the University of Tennessee for standing up for his program and his players. But this is a groundbreaking scenario, and I wish Nico the best. He's a great guy to be around, but this was not the best decision. You got to play team football. You don't renegotiate and then miss practice. That's just not how it works. If you don't get your way, you don't skip out on practice. That's not going to do yourself any favors now, which obviously it didn't. And I guarantee you, anybody that does this, Nico or otherwise, there will be NFL scouts, NFL GMs, NFL presidents, team owners that'll remember that. This is not how it works, folks. You have to use common sense. He was making millions of dollars and still complained. Be careful what you ask for. Also on the transfer market, just a few other players to mention. Unique here. This is one of those situations where I don't know how you grade it. Highly rated kid, but he hasn't played that much in a couple of years. Jason Hewitt, linebacker out of the state of Ohio that signed with the University of Michigan, has played very little, but he's 6'3", 230. I mean, he's put together. This is the kind of guy that could be boom or bust. Does he find the right fit at another P4? Does he move down to the G5 level? I don't know. Hewitt's got some talent, but he didn't really produce at Michigan. We'll see what happens with him. Trevor Jackson, speaking of a guy that didn't get his chance, quarterback out of Jones High School in Orlando. I know him, great guy. He goes to Florida State, preferred walk-on, didn't work out. He's headed into the portal. He didn't play. We'll see. I have no idea where he's going to end up. He's very athletic and he's very intelligent. It's just not him at Florida State. It's one of those situations where everybody wants to play by their sophomore year. It's just the way it is. Quarterbacks leave, in my opinion, too early. He didn't get his shot, and he's back into the world of finding another home via the transfer portal. Finally, another kid I had a chance to meet a couple of years ago, Terrence Love, is leaving Auburn. I thought he should have been a flex tight end. Auburn played him at safety. We'll see how it goes. He only played in 10 games over 2 years for the Auburn Tigers, but he played at Langston Hughes, one of the best programs in Georgia on the south edge of Atlanta. Great kid, elite academic young man. I'd be curious to see where he ends up. Wouldn't be surprised if it's someplace like Vanderbilt. Academically, again, this is a very, very smart kid. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to find everything out that's going on in the recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal space. We will see you again soon.